Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. What's going on, guys? Now, I didn't get a chance to make a Jarrell Miller, Fred Kassi post-fight video, but this is what that's going to be. So, with that being said, Fred Kassi is one of those guys where, you know, he's a heavyweight journeyman, yes, but a cagey heavyweight journeyman, a guy who's been in there with other name opposition such as Charles Martin, such as Dominic Brazil. And those guys weren't able to knock him out or stop him. And in the case of Brazil, you can make the argument that he lost that fight to Kassi. So Jarrell Miller was taking a step up from his previous two fights, which were against Nick Guervas and Donovan Dennis, two guys who were overmatched. So with that being said, Kassi, you know, that was going to be a good barometer for him. So he comes into that fight, Kassi, the first round and a half. The first round and the half of the second round, he goes in there and he boxes solid. He boxes pretty solidly against Jarrell Miller. Miller still lands some good shots in between that, but Kassi had his most success within that frame of time. I would say after the midway point of the second round, that's when Miller really started to land some good hard shots against Fred Kassi, being the close distance. Then the third round came and he really closed distance, and you know that the weight advantage, the 50-pound weight advantage, really was a factor in the fight for Miller, and he was able to stop him in the third round with a TKO. And that, to me, you know, his stock definitely rose with me. It should rise for people who are heavyweight boxing fans. I know it did rise with many people who watched the fight. Shout out to Mr. Boxing Today. I heard, you know, he said it rose with him as well. So, you know, Jarrell Miller is a guy that I think is in a good position, because this fight here with Kassi was a step up from his fights with Guervas and Donovan Dennis. And now, you know, you would figure that the two most realistic opponents for Jarrell Miller would have to be, or I would say three. I'll go four. I'll say four. The four most realistic opponents for Jarrell Miller, due to number one, what stage of the career they're at, two, marketability, and three, money. These are the four most I would say realistic fights for Jarrell Miller next. So I'm going to say number one is going to be Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz is a guy who is a heavyweight prospect, still relatively untested, and people want to see him and get into a test and get into a fight. Jarrell Miller went to his most recent fight in Detroit against Joshua Dempsey. He went into the ring and called him out and got in his face. So that's a fight that can be made. I would love to see that. And like Hatman said in his video, you know, it'll be the battle of the fat boys, you know. And Miller's a proud fat boy, so shout out to Jarrell. But you know, there's that fight. The second fight, which is out of all the four fights I'm about to talk about, the second fight is the one I want to see out of all of them for many reasons. But the second fight is the Trevor Bryan fight, because you know both of these guys are not just American heavyweights, but they're both American heavyweight prospects. And they're both American heavyweight prospects who have a lot of charisma. Bryan has a lot of charisma. Miller has a lot of charisma. So I think build up for that fight would be great. I think the fight itself would be great because Miller's like I said, a hard puncher, big dude. He coming to the ring bigger than Trevor Bryan. Bryan's a guy who, you know, I would say as a heavyweight, you know, his power is still in question. I think in his last couple of fights, you know, Derek Rossi was a hard guy to stop. He wasn't able to get him out of there, but, you know, not a lot of guys have stopped Derek Rossi. I'm not even sure. Derek Rossi might have never been stopped. But anyway, wasn't able to get Derek Rossi out there, but he did drop him, so it shows that he does have some power. And then in the recent fight against another heavyweight that wasn't televised, and I really haven't seen any footage on, he wasn't able to stop that guy either. And the guy was like had a lot of losses and stuff. So I didn't watch the fight, so I don't make a judgment on it, but the jury is still out there on Bryan's power, and a fight against Miller would be able to attest that. And I think for Miller, you know, getting a durable guy like Bryan, who is definitely can go rounds, can give him rounds, that would test his stamina and bring into the question of his weight, which is a huge question for a lot of people who follow Jarrell Miller. So, yeah, that's a fight I want to see. And they themselves have been on video. I got clips here on my own channel that they want to make the fight happen. That they told Showtime and Showbox to call, and they want to weed out the who's real, who's not as far as the heavyweight contenders, and I want that as well. So hopefully that fight happens and be a good one. Outside of that, you know, the third and fourth fights would be two other American heavyweights who took losses to Anthony Joshua, and that's Charles Martin and Dominic Brazil. Both these guys are coming off losses, and after they both get a win under their belt, I would like to see them fight Jarrell Miller. I think that'd be a good matchup of a Mariette heavyweight prospects. So those are the 4 fights that I think are most realistic for Jarrell Miller right now: Ruiz, Trevor Bryan, Dominic Brazil, and Charles Martin. And I would like to see any one of the 4. Now with Jarrell Miller, he has marketable qualities in and out the ring. In the ring with his punching power, out the ring with his mouth. And because he has those 2 qualities, I think he's a very marketable fighter. And I think, he keeps winning and he keeps doing all the right things. A year and a half from now, Deontay Wilder still has that WBC heavyweight title. We could get an American heavyweight, super fight between Miller and Deontay Wilder. And with that being said, I think the more the American boxing public sees Jarrell Miller, the more they're going to like this guy. And I think the onus is on Greg Cohen Promotions to put him out there more. He fought on Showbox, and to be honest, I tried streaming the fight, and the fight was probably the hardest fight I've ever had trouble. I had a really hard time finding a stream for that fight. I had no luck. I spent literally 45 minutes trying to find a stream for the Jarrell Miller fight. Had no luck whatsoever. So with that being said, Jarrell Miller, Deontay Wilder, or Jarrell Miller being marketed better, I think that's what needs to happen. I think he needs to find a regular Showtime, not just Showbox, but a regular Showtime card. Maybe put him. I think a good idea would be to even get him on when Wilder has his next big fight, not like an Areola type of fight, but I'm talking about like a big fight. So when Wilder fights, let's say, if he does fight Povetkin, if that fight does happen, right, and let's say it happens in the Barclays Center, then that makes all the sense in the world to put Jarrell Miller on the undercard for that, because he's a Brooklyn native. He's someone who's very marketable, and he's someone that you can market. That's how you market him. You put him on a Wilder undercard, and knowing Jarrell Miller's personality, he's the type of guy that will jump in the ring and go call out Deontay Wilder face to face and cause all kinds of static. So I would like to see Greg Cohen Promotions go that route. When Deontay Wilder does have a big fight on Showbox and does fight at the Barclays Center again, because it will happen, Miller, it's mandatory. I feel like Miller should be on the undercard. But yeah, man, good win for him. I think his stock definitely went up, and he's in a good position. So shout out to Jarrell Miller for the win against good heavyweight journeyman Fred Kassi, and best of luck to him on his career as he goes forward. I'm going to continue to cover him. Hopefully, because I talked to Jarrell a couple times on Instagram and via messaging. I hope that soon, within the next couple months, I get a chance to talk to Big Baby himself. So Jarrell, if you watch this video, because I know you're on YouTube a lot, let me know when you're free so we can do an interview, maybe set something up. But yeah, leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.